Namaste and welcome to Bhoom of Bharat with Rama Kumar, where every week we are bringing a new update on GCCs. I am Rama Kumar, founder and CEO of SRK Game Changers. SRK Game Changers is a GCC consulting and services organization. We provide advisory, setup services across talent, business operations, and workplace solutions. We are delivering customized, high performing global capability centers that drive AI and digital innovations. We work with the clients to provide them with skilled talent pool, groom the next generation leaders, and make GCC an indispensable part of the corporations. We provide tailored workplace solutions, building technology as a core. And today we have a very known personality who doesn't need any introduction. We requested him from the LinkedIns of the world to our studio, Dr. Sanjeev Rastogi, a thought leader in the GCC space, and an advisor also with Shared Services Outsourcing Network, helping global companies strategize, establish, and scale high performance GCCs. May I request you to please introduce yourself to our audience?
Yeah, thank you, Rama, and it's a pleasure to be with you. You're an old colleague and a dear friend. So thank you for having me on the podcast. I'm Sanjeev Rastogi, as Rama introduced. I'm currently the CEO of Adani GCC, based out of Ahmedabad, and have been in this industry for last over 30 years now. Starting my career in the first GCC in India with American Express, and the journey spanned over various companies where I set up GCCs and ran the GCCs. So pleasure to be here today, and looking forward to interesting and thought-provoking podcast today. Thank you, Rama, for having me.
Well, thank you so much, Sanjeev. It's a pleasure. And Sanjeev, just to kind of start with that, you've done a varied kind of a roles. Even the GCC setups you did were all unique. Whether you're talking about the agriculture company, whether you're talking about in terms of one of the top fours we're talking about. So you want to kind of share some of the experiences from there with our audience. That will be really very beneficial.
See, GCC is a very loosely coined term because the companies take a different strategy. So there are different three kinds of strategies which the GCCs are set up. One, it's a complete back office where we look at what are not customer facing processes where it doesn't have an impact, and to get the better of labor arbitrage and talent pool availability in India, we set up a center in India, but then it remains at a certain level and doesn't grow and doesn't create that value. The second one is where we think they could be strategic. They can be part of, they are integral to the function itself, and they play a integrated role in reshaping the function, whether it is finance, procurement, HR, and they're integrated pretty well into the function or services. The third one is really creating the high-end values, where I may set up a GCC to do my R&D, to do my implementation, to do my digitization, and that is the core, because they are part of the key strategy of the enterprise, and the strategy comes from the top, and they're also changing the way business works globally. They are the game changer catalyst. I call GCCs a game changer catalyst. So that's the third level of GCCs we have in India. Not many of them, but the number of the GCCs where we have R&Ds, we have value adds, AI, digitization, that coming up is very encouraging. And I see that's a way forward. So we may have roughly around 2,300 GCCs in India, and we grow so many GCCs year on year. But I see most of the GCCs moving away from a tier one, which is just a basic transactional work, to more into functional strategy, and then to the AI and value creation analytics. And that's the way I think the GCC future would be. So most of the tier one and tier two would move into tier three as we move along.
And I've also seen working very closely with you in some of these companies. I've also seen the way you kind of do a stakeholder management with the corporations. The major, I would say, the company is also very differently. Okay, you build that, nurture that relationship. So, any experiences you want to, because that's a very different strategy. And today, when you talk to some GCCs, they do say, our decision making is not done at the headquarters. Whereas I have observed the companies you've been kind of working, the decision making was something which was core here in India. So how do you any experiences or best practice you want to kind of share with our audience?
See, I think the best part is that if you want GCC to create value and not the cost arbitrage on value in terms of changing the strategy of the organization, implementing strategy, delivering value through AI, analytics, digitization, and you want to do that, you need to have a seat on the table and your positioning should be very different. And wherever I have seen, and I've worked in 7, 8 different GCCs, wherever you are, the GCC in India is part of any function or any reporting. So, for example, the GCC in India is reporting into an HR as a function or finance as a function or IT as a function. Typically, you become a functional part of a functional strategy and not a global strategy. So once you have a blueprint where we want to take the GCC in the next 2 to 3 years, so you need to have a roadmap first. Secondly, a clear seat on the table and an influencing stakeholder who can influence, where you can put your points across, you can build a strategy, and then it's taken up to the senior enough level. So you need to be aligning to the overall global strategy or global COs and not only in function. And typically, I've seen in some of the GCCs where, while we were a centralized organization, we were part of the global strategy, we were really, really doing well. As soon as we became a part of a function, reporting to a function, then it was driven through a function strategy and not a global and a corporate strategy. So I think having a seat on the table, having a good roadmap for next 2 to 3 to 5 years, and connect with the stakeholders and able to create that what is the art of possible, what can we do, and how we can enable the organization implement change and integrate M&As as the world is moving. I think that is the key. We need to bring out the value what we can create out of the GCCs and where we need to play, where we need to go with a clear roadmap. I think that is important. It's just not that I can do it. I can bring processes and just do it simply cheaper, faster, better. But that's the era which is gone now. You need to have a strategic vision. You need to have a roadmap and the right stakeholder connect and the right positioning of GCC in the group.
No, you're absolutely correct. I think the word you use, seat on the table, that's very important. And I have also myself seen you, kind of, doing that. So that's really wonderful. And I also see that recently that you've taken up a very important position with the SSO Network. And that's also a very recognized network. So how do you see basically SSO Network helping the GCCs in their strategy or growth or setup? How do you see that?
The SSON is a global organization where they bring very, very senior, seasoned, experienced leaders across the globe. And the good part is that they share the best practices, they share what's happening in this world, and we stay current because geographically it is important. We know that what's happening in Europe, what's the thinking process, what is the mindset going on, what are the things being tracked, what is the benchmarking available to you, and how different GCCs and how the leaders are thinking across and how they want to leverage India. So I think it's a very good network, a very good ecosystem where you get to learn a lot from your peers. You get to know what's happening in the world of GCCs and where there lies the opportunity of automation, transformation, and what is the art of possible. And then you have a seat on the table to express your views, learn from others, and share and exchange. We do have master classes, we have sessions, we go and attend, and there's so much to learn from the experience of people that, yeah, oh, this is happening, this is how they are addressing the issues, there, how the cultural issues are handled, the change management is handled, this is how the strategic decision is being taken. So I think there's a lot to learn, a lot to network, and create best practices across the peers. And that's how it makes it very powerful.
No, in fact, I was about to ask you that, sometimes a benchmark is very important because when you are sharing with the customers, telling them how do you benchmark within the competition, okay, the data and like that they provide, that is very important information, which is required for the GCs today to kind of, share how do they are performing or optimizing the overall performance. So, uh, Sanjeev, you've done a kind of a implementation in locations even in India or outside. How do you see some of these emerging GCC locations beyond India? And India also kind of sees the GCC capital. So how do you see that happening?
You see, there are strategic locations where people have. So, for example, in the Eastern Europe, if you talk about Poland and all that, I think that creates a natural hub because of the language and European languages, Eastern European languages. So that that creates that kind of scalability and opportunity for them to create, and it's closure to the hub. So if you look at Philippines, of course, they have moved up into the voice kind of a piece, and in that APAC region, in that particular niche area. And but I look at Dubai now; they're offering an ecosystem where you can bring talent from anywhere and support them. Then Malaysia, Cyberjaya, they are building an ecosystem. They are promoting that IT should come in. And if you look at China, they are coming up with large shared services, but more probably language supported. But let me tell you, India can't be replaced. India is the AI capital of the world. India is the digital capital of the world. And the kind of talent and the kind of transformation and the kind of knowledge and database we have, um, I think that is unparalleled. We are probably the largest country in the world with that age group, with kind of niche skills, especially on AI, cognitive, Gen AI, agentic automation, and you can talk about any of the initiatives which is happening, AR, VR, anything you talk about. I think India is going to lead the way. India is the best talent and the most available pool of talent. Um, while this hub and spoke model will still work near shore, offshore, uh, fit for purpose. So we have centers in Guadalajara, we have centers in Mexico, we have centers in Uruguay, Montevideo, but they are fit for purpose for a region, right? For a scalability, for a BCP regions, for language purposes. But India will create the hub and ecosystem where we can bring talent of different natures, different functions, services, and on top of it, the latest technologies to embrace latest technology. So India will lead the change, India will drive the change, and Indian GCC will thrive. And that is why you see more than 100 GCC joining us every year coming into India, because that's the kind of ecosystem both from a talent technologies we bring in.
Yeah. So Sanjeev, you've also kind of talked about IT, you talk about AI, and you've also implemented a lot of these AIs related, created a lot of new initiatives. I would say that, or projects or transformation. Any experience or something you want to share that with our audience?
See, we are in the process of AI is new in the service industry. They are in pockets. AI, cognitive RPA is being implemented, and especially in the transactional processing. But while I'm trying to do a very high end function, I think AI will come into play when it connects to external information. When I try to benchmark, when I try to create something, then AI will come definitely into play. But definitely, when I look at agentic transformation now, when I look at machine learning, clearly in areas of finance, in areas of techno commercial, especially areas of analytics, I think we have used that. There's not a large implementation which has happened. It has happened in different pockets in the GCC area. So I think in the next couple of years, you will see a complete transformation the way processes have been done. A lot of this processing will become productized. A lot of this will be available from a machine learning perspective, automation, and I think we'll have two kind of workers. One is human workers and digital workers alongside us. So while when I'll report that I have so many of workforce, I'll have to report that how many digital workers I have, which are doing this automation, transformation, and overall processing. And I think that's the way the world is going to change in the GCC. So we'll have two kind of workforce, digital workforce and this workforce, and completely automated touchless processes. And I think that's the era which we are moving. We are trying to implement something like touchless hiring, touchless this in HR areas, similarly in areas of finance, and something in the areas of techno commercial as well. So I think that's the way to go. I think next 2 to 3 years we'll see a lot of evolution in the touchless part of it, coming digital workers, etc., and agentic transformation. So exciting times ahead of us, and I see a complete transformation by 2027.
No, in fact, that's a good thing what you brought about, when we are also talking to a lot of new, GCCs, because, we are focusing on getting mid-sized companies to India. When we are talking to some of these mid-sized companies, they're at the same level as we see 20 years back, I would say the Fortune 500 companies was. But the risk is not that high, which, there were a lot of, they're very risk averse. Both AI and how I would say forecasting, especially on something which could be used, like I would say cost of poor quality in terms of looking at your supply chain. Can we forecast? Can we do a cash forecasting? Some of these things we feel they have been done. I mean, in your past, you've already done that. But some of these companies are now getting into that more, and some of these AI labs that we have can certainly support them. I think related to what you mentioned about it, I see talent is a bigger differentiator in the GCCs. And today, if you see, India is like, grooming a lot of talent, and government is also doing a lot of work over there. So how do you see that differentiation, and how do we groom the talent or retain them? Is there anything specific you want to share with from your experiences of leading large organizations?
See, I think with the Zoomers coming in, or Gen Zs, we call about, or millennials, and so I had a LinkedIn post a couple of days back on how do you manage the workforce in the three generations. So I think in the era of Zoomers and Gen Zs and millennials, I think you need to be very careful in how you groom and give them the career path, because they are agnostic of levels, they are agnostic of the way things have worked in the past, in the traditions. So they want to see that is there a value in what they are doing? Is there, how do you engage them meaningfully? And it's just not about you give them a job and they will continue to do the same job for years, and they don't want to be bonded. So I think what is important is that how do I engage them? How do I show them the roadmap and where they see the value and how you can utilize their potential? So important things are, yes, we need to have still a long way to go in terms of campus to corporate, because the graduates we get at the lower level are still not ready, and we need to spend a lot of time making them ready for the corporates and in the GCCs areas. While the new age technologies are coming up, the generation which is the mid level and older generation, the baby boomers and others, we need to upskill them to be relevant in the organization. And I think that's the investment the organization needs to do, so that they bring that experience, but they need to be tech savvy, they need to be digital savvy, and they need to manage and be adaptable to the new technologies and the ways of working. So we need to upskill, reskill, and give opportunities for the younger generations to excel and thrive. And I think that's how you will retain people, and that's how the ecosystem will be. Then otherwise you will have a generational clash. You will find people not wanting to work together as a team. So I think you need to work on an ecosystem where there's a place for everybody, there's an opportunity for everybody, and everybody is feel wanted, and they feel that yes, they can contribute and they are part of this journey. I think that's the compelling thing which I feel we should do across all the generations.
So how do you create, senior leadership? Each GCC which is there, you need a leader who should be able to create that kind of a stakeholder understanding.
I think it's a very clear principle, Rama. A very good question. So I feel going forward and today onwards, what we should do is we should look at 80% of my processes or headcount, from 60 to 80% of my global headcount should in the GCCs, in the services and support functions and functions, and 25% of my global leadership from should be from the GCCs in the upcoming area. So while I work from one of the largest conglomerates in India, the biggest infrastructure company in the world, we see GCC as a talent hub for the future, and all the future leaders in the functions will come from the GCC, and so it's a healthy exchange of talent across. The talent will come here, work in different functions, work in different technologies, upskill them, and go back to the businesses, and that's how I see there needs to be healthy exchange between the GCCs and the corporate and the headquarters, and that is how this will encourage people to be part of the GCCs, and not, so we should not coin a term as back office, but more enabled, digital GCC. So I think the era would be will become game changer catalyst, or will become digital GCCs instead of GCCs in the future.
So, we're talking in India a lot about Viksit Bharat 2047, and there's a lot which government is also doing, and you also working with one of the, I would say, large conglomerates who are talking about, more focus is there as to what India can do. So, how do you see a change happening? Is it going to be more AI related fintechs? Do you see ESG? Do you see a cyber security kind of a stuff which is getting into the GCCs? So, do you see that difference here?
I think GCCs will be the COEs and will be the capability hubs. Uh, I will see all the GCCs becoming in 2040 or 2040s and beyond advanced center of analytics. We'll not do processing here in India. They'll all do analytics instead of a finance team, which is right now 500. You'll have 50 people in finance just doing analytics, because rest everything will be taken care by the systems and AIs and processing. So I think we are going to go a 360-degree change in the way things are and the GCCs are structured today. We all will become advanced center of analytics, insights, decision making based on information, insights, everything available on your desktop, and taking business decisions on the go. a different world altogether, which we can't reimagine today. But I think a complete 360-degree change from where we are today. So if I look at any function today in any of the GCCs, there will not be more than 20% of that headcount available in those GCCs for those functions.
And Sanjeev, I can't let you go without answering this question. When you talk to people and tell them that you want to learn, you want to study, okay, a lot of time we hear the question saying, I don't have time, there's so many stuff to be done. And you had a remarkable journey, very high, very, very niche positions, senior leadership roles. And then also you got a chance to do a PhD and you won multiple industry awards and also your role as a people leader. So, how have these achievements shaped your leadership style in setting up and scaling the global capability center?
There are two themes I work on. You learn till you die. So keep learning. We are not perfect. So with the new age technologies, whatever coming in, so being a finance professional doesn't stop you to learn what's happening in the world of AIs, Gen AI, what's happening in procurement, HR, and I do everything in IT and everything else. So one, you should be open to learn, open to relearn, open to upskill yourself, and everybody in the world, including you, me, everybody has 24,600 seconds, right? If you multiply. And one of the Peter F. Drucker, who was the management guru, said, everybody has the same time. The best people are those who manage their time very effectively and find time for their passion and what they want to do. So I always believe that if I'm not able to find time in myself and not invest in myself, then I'm something. So I analyze how my day goes every year, every day. What can I do? What could I have done better? And what is my passion and how I achieve my passion? So you need to be clear on your thought. You need to be clear on your vision where you want to go and the larger purpose where you want to do in your life and how do you shape up and what do you need to do next. So I think an ideation process, a thinking process, planning your, what you want to do, what's the larger purpose, and then taking time out, planning for it, and pursuing your passion, I think, and keep learning, keep reskilling, work with different generations to learn. Reverse mentoring has helped me learn new things with the younger generations or millennials. So I think those are some things which keeps me motivating and keeps me going.
Yeah, no, no, that's a good point you mentioned about reverse mentoring, and I myself experienced that. When I worked with in some of these companies with you, that's really very wonderful stuff. And I'm sure that keeps inspiring the next generation leaders that you are grooming. And so, Sanjeev, just the last question, a final message you would like to leave for the new companies which are looking to set up a GCCs. What should be their first strategic move? You would like to tell that.
I think all the new GCCs which are coming in this space ecosystem, I think, need to have a compelling vision, how they are stacked up in the global organization, what is the value story they're going to build on, a clear roadmap, a clear seat on the table, and look for and challenging the status quo. Why, what, how, and adopting the new technologies, building a new age workforce, making it digital processes. So I think we need to look at what is the vision, what is the larger purpose of setting up a GCC here, how we can enable organization, and it's just not a cost saving metrics. It's much more can how we can be integrated into the business and the static vision of the organization, how we can enable that. So right vision, right strategy, a right level of execution, adoption of new technologies, and a value story. I think these are four things which I would strongly recommend for the GCCs coming to India.
No, thank you so much, Sanjeev. It was really so wonderful. And, as you were talking, sharing samples, I could feel myself there with you in terms of, doing some of these things. So thank you so much. And it was really a pleasure for, my audience and viewers to have that. This is something new that we've started to create more education about, the Bharat, the talent, which we could, about Viksit Bharat to the customers who really want to come to India. So thank you once again for coming here and talking to our audience. Thank you for tuning in for this special episode of Boom of Bharat for the audience. Don't forget to subscribe for more insights on the ideas and innovation shaping our world. If you have any thoughts or stories to share on this topic, we would love to hear from you. You can connect with me on LinkedIn, SRK Game Changers, or drop your questions on our website, srkgamechangers.com. Up till next time, namaste from Boom of Bharat.